Hi all, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I just thought I heard like a cat meow, but I think it was the bench I'm sitting on. I think it squeaked because it rocks. I don't know, but I'm also listening to my chickens under the deck because when it's hot out, they live under the deck, and then in the evening they come out and run around again. So they run around in the morning, and then they live under the deck in the hot when it's hot, and then they run around again in the evening. Did I say the evening twice? I meant the morning and the evening. Now I need a tissue because I just sneezed and now my nose is runny. No. There's my dog. She's like, Mom, you went outside without me. Yes, I did. I didn't even think you were. She was laying in her kennel. Like, she goes and just lays in her kennel. So I didn't even think of like inviting her outside. Anyway, this is like a chit chat video. I am also making a day in the life today, kind of. I told you guys on that video that I think I'm so used to not making videos now that I have to like relearn how to like film breakfast, film lunch, like, you know, keep people updated if you're doing a day in the life. It's not just morning and evening. So yeah, I want to show you guys our tomatoes, but I just saw that someone picked them. I cannot grow tomatoes with my toddler because he picked them, and I can't explain to him that you can't pick them. They need to get big and grow red. You know what I mean? So here they are in their pots. It's so wonderful. Let's see, this one just started to bloom, so I have no idea what they're going to look like, and I can't remember what those were. These our Nana gave us, and it is the most productive so far, like this size. But my kid comes through, and you can see over there, and picks them. And I'm like, kid, you got to stop picking them. And it still has a whole bunch left. And then this one is a cherry tomato that we got from Walmart, and I don't know why it's yellow. But it has, I don't know if you can see them all, it has a whole bunch on them also. And then those are strawberries, but it has not produced any fruit. When we got it, it was like almost dying. I think there's 3 plants in there. And I bought it as a bundle at Walmart, and it had one berry on it that was like dead and it was dying. So I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I can, you know, nurse it back to health. And now it's super healthy, but we don't have any blossoms or fruit, which makes me kind of sad because Phoebe really wanted strawberries. So chickens are doing well. They haven't been eaten or anything. Let's see, what else? Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is okay to tell you guys. John and I haven't really talked about if I was gonna tell YouTube or not, but I think I will, because it's like none of our life will make sense to you guys if you don't know this information. So this is what's happening in our lives right now. Well, first of all, let's see. No, I don't know. Like, should I tell you guys random stuff first? Or should I lead with the big stuff? I don't know. Anyway, random stuff is we have decided that my kids aren't doing sleepovers anymore. They had never done sleepovers before we moved here. And then we have this neighbor, oh, I just spilled my coffee, that we really trust. And so my kids were doing sleepovers there, her kids were doing sleepovers here. And then my girls went over for a sleepover the other night, and she called me at like 10 or 10:30 and said they need to come home. So I went over and I got them. And I got like 3 different stories about why they needed to come home, other than they were all in tears. My girls were like sobbing, her girls were sobbing. But I got like 3 different stories about why they were all sobbing. And so I think I've just decided that, you know what, with the information that I got from my girls, you're just not gonna have sleepovers anymore. That seems to be a prevalent thing now, is you don't just have sleepovers anymore like you used to when I was a kid. To sleep over at friends' houses all the time. Like, I lived at other people's houses for weeks at a time. Well, not weeks, like days at a time sometimes, because I didn't want to be at home. But now it's just too dangerous. With like, even if they're not physically dangerous, they could damage their hearts, and they don't need to be subjected to that. So we're not doing sleepovers anymore. Tyron actually tried a sleepover with this neighbor and ended up coming home at like 1 o'clock in the morning because he got scared. And he's like me, he's an introvert, and I know I did that the first couple sleepovers I had. I would leave in the middle of the night and go home And it got to the point where if I was sleeping over, my stepdad knew to leave the front door unlocked or the back door because I would come home. And that way I wouldn't have to call him in the middle of the night and say, can you unlock the door? And then, let's see, Ty's not doing karate anymore. He was doing it at the rec center, and I kind of feel like it was a cheap version of karate. And so we were thinking, like, we need to not have him do that anymore, and we'll like find a studio, because several of our friends' sons go to actual karate studios. And so we'll just start him in a studio, we'll like save the money, you know, and just have him do like proper karate. Well, then this, like the last couple times he's come out of rec center karate, down and out because the teacher embarrassed him, the sensei embarrassed him, or was yelling at everyone, or bopped kids on the head because they weren't paying attention. And Wednesday he came out and he said he was yelling at everyone. And I was like, you're done. You can be done. If you don't want to go back, I'm not going to make you go back. Like, this is, you shouldn't spend all class yelling at your students. Like, so dumb. And then, like, to bop them on the head, I'm very not confrontational. If my husband had been here, he would have gone and arrested him. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad you're not here, because he was like, that's physical assault, you know. And I'm like, I know. So, judge me if you want to on that one. I'm just done. We're just done. So eventually we'll find him a real karate studio or something that he's interested in. The girls are doing gymnastics. They love gymnastics. So they're doing gymnastics. What else? What else? I had a guy come look at my, oh my gosh, a paper towel just flew by and I was like, ah. I had a guy come look at my swamp cooler because our landlord still has not gotten it fixed. And he came out and he got it running, let's see, on Wednesday. Nope, Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday afternoon? Yeah, it must have been Tuesday afternoon because yesterday was Wednesday. And he got it running, but the only way to work it right now is the breaker. You have to flick the breaker back and forth to get it to turn on. And when it's running, my kitchen lights work. When the breaker is off, the kitchen lights don't work, which is funny because that breaker is labeled the study, which is this room right here. Not my kitchen, but it kicks out all my kitchen lights. Fortunately, the freezer, stove, refrigerator, and microwave must be on a different breaker because they still function. And the light on the side of the house, the porch light, doesn't work, which bothers me more than not having kitchen lights, because at night I still get kind of terrified because of that guy at the window. And that was 2 weeks ago. That was a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. And it took me like a week to start sleeping with the windows open again, right after every window was closed except for the living room windows and my bedroom windows, because I was so terrified that someone was going to come through again. And like John said, and the deputy said, the guy was drunk. He probably doesn't even remember coming to our house. Like, you know, he was so gone that it probably wasn't like malicious targeted. It was just an accident. He was drunk. He doesn't even remember it. But still, it shook me so bad. And I like sleep in terror at night, if I sleep at all. I'm up really late because I'm so afraid to go to sleep. And then I'm like listening for every creak and squeak and everything. And then my grandparents came and stayed the weekend, and I was great, and we slept with the windows open, and I was wonderful. And they left on Tuesday, and then Tuesday night I was terrified again. Like, I was terrified to the point that I wish I knew someone who could come stay with us just so I could have an extra set of ears. So that's really taken a lot out of me. Just, you don't think it would affect you that badly, but it did me. And I wouldn't think that it would affect me that badly because it's not like he was in the house or anything. No damage was done, but it's just like a mental thing that my brain is just holding on to it. So I'm just nervous, scared out of my mind. But the past, like, Tuesday night I slept with the windows open and just listened a lot. And then last night we slept with the windows open. Even though the swamp cooler works, it's very loud and it's very cold. So And he said the hotter it is, the better it will work. So as outside cools down, it won't work as well, I guess. I don't know how true that is. So we still slept with the windows open at night, but at least our house is not 80, 82 degrees in the afternoon. So that's good, right? But he said he was going to get me an invoice, an itemized list of parts. Well, I haven't heard back from him, and I'm kind of irritated with people that don't respond. I'm getting very irritated with people that say they're going to do something and they don't. But I'm also not the kind of person who's going to hound people. I expect you, as an adult, to do what you said you were going to do. I hound for little, not hound, but you know what? I spend all day repeating myself and reminding my children and all of that with my children. I don't need to do it with adults. So I'm waiting for this itemized list. I'm very prepared to have him fix it and then take it off the rent, because our landlord has known about it for 2 months and has not fixed it. He has not come and fixed the bathtub. You guys know his solution to fixing the flooding front faucet was to cap it off. Well, by capping it off, he capped off my bathtub as well. So we're down to 1 bathtub, which is okay because we came from a house with 1 bathtub. So for 6 of us, we know how to live with 1 bathtub. But the fact that we're paying rent for 2 bathtubs and a swamp cooler, and neither of them are working, is what's getting me mad. John took a pay cut for this deployment, and I thought it was a pay cut, and then he got a raise in the military, so State Patrol stopped making up the difference. He said, no, that's not it. He's still making significantly less than he would with State Patrol, but State Patrol only does the first 3 months, or 3 months. You get to pick which 3 months. So we did the first 3 months. So we still are being paid significantly less than if he was home, and we're still paying over half of his total paycheck a month in rent. And rent is supposed to only be like a quarter of your paycheck. So it just makes me mad that they're not fixing stuff that we've asked them that they know about. I asked for a screen door on this door back in May, and it hasn't happened. I asked for a light out in the backyard because there's no light whatsoever out here at night. And when we don't have any light from the moon, it's pitch black because we don't live in a city. We live in kind of in the country. And he didn't do that. So I bought these like motion lights off of Amazon, and I have them out here just so nothing eats my chickens. And so if the dog needs to go out in the middle of the night, she can like turn them on when she walks by them, and I can see that there's nothing here. But that didn't happen. And John like calls and texts, and they don't answer, and they ignore, and they don't return calls, and they're not listening to me because I've told them what's wrong, and they don't do that. So we've got a couple more weeks till John gets back, and we're just biding our time now because you guys, here's the big news and kind of stressful news. We're moving. Oh my gosh. Like, we weren't going to tell anyone, but our timetable kind of got moved up. So here's the situation. John has been putting in for transfers, like, since they started to the area where we want to be, which is back where we moved from. And he was told that you probably won't get it. You have to work in a certain place for at least 2 years before they start transferring you. But where we want to go needs people. So he was told to start trying. So he tried once, and it, of course, got turned down because he hasn't worked here long enough. And then he was told by the major in that office that you need to keep trying. I don't care if you get, declined, rejected like 10 times or 100 times. Every time a transfer comes open, you need to try for it. And so another one came open back in May, and he put in for it. And his sergeant here, who is a butt, like a bad word, but was like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying again? You know you're going to get rejected, blah, blah, blah. And John was like, because I was told to keep trying, so just put it through. And it got approved this time. And it was for March 2019. So we were like, we got time. We got time. We're not, you'll get back. We'll start, slowly house hunting, because we can afford a house over where we're going. You can't afford a house here. And you know, we'll start slowly house hunting and we'll break the news around Christmas. And then we thought maybe we should move around Christmas so that we can move the kids in between school semesters again, not in March, because that's weird. So we're like, okay, so we'll move around Christmas. Well, he got an email maybe a week ago that it had been requested that he transfer earlier. We didn't request that, and that it was approved. And when he reports back to duty on October 1st, he reports in the other office, not here anymore. He no longer works for this county. And I was like, like, I was mad at first because like, I almost hung up on him. I was so mad because he thought it was good news, because we want out of here so bad. We want out of the house situation. We want out of this county, like, everything. But what he wasn't thinking was, now we only have a month and a half to find somewhere to live. We have to deal with school stuff, or we live separately on the days that he works until we move. And that's what I thought. And I'm like, I've already lived separately from you. I don't want to live separately again. I wanted to know who put in the request to have it come early. You know, I went through the roof. I was so mad, and it wasn't good of me, but I just, you know, because I immediately thought of all that stuff, and he just was thinking we get out of the house situation, which is what you want. So he didn't quite understand why I was mad, because I was getting what I wanted. So he reports for duty on October 1st. So we have, literally after he comes home, we have about a month and a half to find a house. It's not gonna happen. I'm not holding my breath. He says that it's possible, you know, with God, it's possible. God could really, you know, streamline everything and we could move by October 1st. But I, as the pessimist in this relationship, am not holding my breath about paperwork going through or anything like that. So whatever. But eventually we are moving, which I'm glad for. It's kind of stressful because I'm already, like, thinking packing and purging and all of that, but we don't have anywhere to go, and it's super stressful. But we're looking at houses. We've got a couple. We've got a realtor. We know how much we're pre-approved for, and we want enough house for us, and we want land, but we don't want to, like, overstretch ourselves. So we're trying to be, like, conservative, but I want land. I don't want neighbors like this. We moved in here and I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and then I realized, why did we do this? We have neighbors, and I don't want neighbors. Like, I just don't. So we've got a couple places with some good land and good houses that we're looking at. And along those notes, since now we're going to be moving before Christmas, I have decided to homeschool again. And I know everyone is going to, like, roll their eyes and, Jessica, you already tried this and you hated it and all that. Well, I know. But I have also regretted putting them in school. Like, there's been things that happened at school and just attitudes that they come home with and all this that I don't like either. And I think I know what I did wrong during homeschooling, so I'm gonna do it again, and we're gonna stick with it. There's no, I'm gonna homeschool until we move, and then they're gonna go into school. This is freaking as long as I can, lifelong. And I know some people don't agree with that, and you're just gonna have to deal, because this is what we're doing. I'm joining a umbrella school, which is kind of some extra support. That way I don't have to report to the school district or the state. I report to the umbrella school, and then they report what is necessary to the state. But it's kind of like putting my kids in a private school, homeschool. And I've already got, like, I can use most of the curriculum from last year because it adjusts for different ages, and the only thing I'm gonna have to buy really, I think, is math again, but I can do that super easy, and that'll be great. So we're gonna kind of do, I don't want to use the word unschool, but we're definitely not going to be sit at the table for 4 hours a day and do your work, because that did not work for any of us. So I'm gonna figure it out. That is the other part of our big news, is I'm homeschooling again, because I regret, like, the difference between when they were homeschooled last year and since they've been in school was amazing. Like, bad amazing. Like, things that are said in school and happen in school, and the attitudes that my kids come home with, and I've had to deal with it alone because John hasn't even been here to deal with it. So I'm just, you know what, he still wants me to homeschool. That's always been his dream, is to have a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife who homeschools her children. And I do. I have, you know how people have baby fever? I have homeschool fever. Like, my heart screams for homeschooling. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it right, and we're not gonna give up, because giving up probably screwed us up more than if I had just stuck with it and found a different way to do it. So yeah, we're gonna do that, because that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling is best for us. That way they don't go into a public school, and I'm just not. They're not. As long as I can physically help it, my children are not going back to public school. Okay? Okay, so that's it. I am hitting 20 minutes. I am gonna go, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I should clean, but I really don't want to clean. I really kind of want to read, maybe, but I'm done talking. I think that's all that's happening in our lives. We have a couple more weeks until John gets back. Woo! And it's so slow. I can't even believe it. But yeah, we'll be having fun, like making videos of house hunting and and his homecoming and all of that. Yeah, so bye guys. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Afternoon is when I'm making this. It might not be when you're watching it, but it's when I'm making it. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and make sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe if you are a new visitor. I would love that. Bye guys.